We continue our summer series and we're looking at heaven, of visiting heaven and what that's like. And today we touch on a subject that is part of each one of our lives, and that is children. Children in heaven. Now, we are probably familiar with, in one way or another, of a child going missing who is in your care. Whether you're a parent or a grandparent or aunt or uncle or just a good friend, kids are in your care and they go missing. You turn around and they're gone, out of sight. In that moment, we get this feeling like our stomach just drops out of our body. That feeling of anxiety and fear that just grips us. And that's just when a child has gone missing. I've never experienced the loss or the death of a child. But from that experience of just missing a child, I can probably get a sense of some part of the loss of a child who is yours, or a grandparent to, or an aunt or uncle. And it's a deep loss. And with that loss, many questions, lots of anxiety, lots of fear, lots of anger. One of the things that I really love about the new church and what it teaches is through its teachings, we get some insight into where our child goes when they die and what happens to them. Do they stay a child? Do they grow up in heaven? What does that look like? And the new church has some wonderful ideas, some wonderful truths to answer some of those fears, some of those anxieties, and we're going to look at that today. Now, the point I want to start with is this one. All children throughout the world are special to the Lord. It does not matter to the Lord which country you're born in. It doesn't matter to the Lord which religion you're born into. It doesn't matter to the Lord who your parents are. Every child is special and loved by the Lord. I want to read to you from Matthew 18, verse 2. The Lord is speaking to his disciples. Then Jesus called a little child to him and set him in the midst of them and said, Assuredly I say to you, unless you are converted and become as a little child, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever humbles himself as this little child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. So the Lord sees something very special within children. Something that the Lord wants us as adults to be. And I don't think it's age. I don't think the Lord wants us to grow young again like children. I know a lot of us would like to get to 29 and then start counting backwards and become like little children again. But that's not how life works. But there is a quality, there's something special about the quality of children that the Lord is looking at and the Lord sees as really important for a heavenly life. And that quality is innocence or humility. The two really go together. What is innocence? How can we define innocence? Innocence is the willingness to follow. So children are innocent and are willing to follow their parents. And as parents, we teach them right from wrong. We teach them how to live in this world. We take care of them, and our children follow us. They see us as providers, as protectors, as teachers. They are willing to follow us as parents. And that same innocence is what the Lord desires for us as adults in following Him. For us to go to the Lord as a child going to their parents and wanting to be provided for, to be cared for, to be protected, to wanting to learn from the Lord. And so there's innocence of children in following their parents, but also as adults, that same willingness to follow the Lord. And so that's the quality that the Lord sees within children that He wants for us as adults. So why is this quality important? I have a jug of water. Now, if somebody wanted water, I wouldn't just pour it out, would I? If you want water, I wouldn't just pour it out and it fall on the floor. You would need a container. And so you might put out your hand and I could pour some water in your hand to drink it. Or perhaps if you were adventurous, you would say, just pour it in my mouth. Right? Just pour it in your mouth. But for most of us, we'd prefer a glass, something to pour that water into. And then we can drink. So what is the point? The point is we need a container. If we want to hold water, we need a container of some sort to hold that water. And innocence is like a container. Innocence is a vessel that is able to hold within it the kingdom of heaven. Innocence is what is able to hold the Lord's love in it. So that's why innocence is so important. It's the container that will hold heaven in our lives. I want to read to you from the Teachings for the New Church, from the book Heaven and Hell, number 341. Innocence is the vessel of everything heavenly. Innocence is the vessel of everything heavenly. We can't have anything of heaven unless we're willing to follow the Lord. And therefore, that children's innocence is a matrix. And what is a matrix? A matrix is a substance that is able to hold things within it. So again, it's able to contain a vessel, something that's able to hold. So innocence in children, again, a matrix or a vessel for all the affections or all the things of love, of what is good and true. Innocence is wanting to be led by the Lord and not by oneself, being freed from preoccupation with our self-image. So can we let go of ourself? Can we let go of wanting to control things our way and instead looking to the Lord and asking, well, how would the Lord want us to deal with this? How does the Lord want me to live my life? So that is the innocence, that vessel that is able to hold spiritual life or a heavenly life. So when children die, when children pass on to the next world, they are already equipped, or they are born for heaven. They are able to be lifted straight up into heaven to receive life from the Lord there. We've been speaking the last 2 weeks about the world of spirits, the place that adults go. And we go into the world of spirits because we've got to get past the things that we've taken on in this world, the bad habits and the bad choices, and the good choices and the good habits, and try and find out who we truly are. What is the love that lies deepest in our heart? Is it a love for the Lord, or is it a love for ourselves? But children don't have those battles to overcome. They haven't lived their life the same way we have. They haven't had to make those difficult decisions. They haven't built bad habits of selfishness within themselves yet. They are free of that. And so they don't need to enter the world of spirits. The Lord has prepared them already to receive heaven and to be lifted up into heaven. But children, we've already said, haven't really lived life. So do they just stay children? Do they just stay in that state of not really progressing and growing? No. They continue to grow. They continue their journey of becoming knowledgeable. They're given into the care of angels who love children, and to teach them and guide them and teach them all the things about a heavenly life. And children then grow as angels to become young adults, to know all there is about the heavenly life and to participate freely of their choice in that life of heaven. And what is that heavenly life? Loving others, giving of yourself to other people, finding joy in giving to others, and that joy resonating in your heart too. So that's the life of heaven, the life that the Lord gives to children automatically because of their innocence in this world. And so there's an example to us of how the Lord deals with children. He sees their innocence and continues that journey of inflowing into their minds, teaching them all the things of a loving, caring life. And that's an example for us as parents, as a community, as a church, as teachers, to continue or take that example and to do that for children here in our care. How do we see the innocence within children, their love for learning, their willingness to follow, and use that to teach them about the things that are really important, the heavenly things, the things of caring and loving and sharing with others? That's the work that we come together as a church in supporting, raising and preparing children from an innocent life as children to adults who freely choose innocence, choosing to follow the Lord. But what makes that process difficult for us adults is we are still learning. We are still on that journey of trying to live a heavenly life. And so while we are busy learning and making mistakes and having bad decisions, we've got to teach our children. So how do we set a good example for our kids while we're battling with things and still trying to lead them on? And this is the difficulty, this is the challenge of life. This is what we come together as a community to support each other in, being better individuals so that we can be better teachers for our children. As we learn, so our children learn. And so that's the challenge for each one of us, individually and as a community. Growing ourselves as adults and choosing that innocence to follow the Lord, and better equipping ourselves to help our kids in their innocent state, choosing for their lives one day to follow the Lord. Amen.